had already placed her mother-in-law in the urn, yet the husband was completely unaware of it. He was even planning to take his mistress home to celebrate his mother's birthday. On the way there, they encountered the funeral procession. It was only then that he still had no idea of the truth. It turned out that just 7 days ago, the wife, heavily pregnant, had rushed her mother-in-law to the emergency room, only to unexpectedly see her husband accompanying his mistress for a physical exam at the hospital. She wanted to tell him about the car accident involving her mother-in-law, but the man misunderstood and thought she was talking about her own mother. He coldly said that her mother's accident had nothing to do with him. At that moment, the scheming woman gave her son a glance. The little boy understood immediately. He clutched his stomach and said he was in pain. Seeing this, the man hurriedly picked up the scheming woman's son and ran towards the emergency room. At that moment, the doctor told the woman that her mother-in-law needed emergency surgery and a blood transfusion, but the blood bank had run out of blood. The woman quickly offered to donate her own blood, but the doctor, seeing her pregnant belly, dared not take the risk. Helpless, the woman quickly called her husband, but at that time, he was with the scheming woman and her son. He didn't have time to answer his wife's call. Even worse, the scheming woman secretly turned off the man's phone. With the mother-in-law's situation growing more critical, the woman had no choice but to find her husband on her own. When she reached the room where the scheming woman was, she found that her husband was not there. She wanted to leave, but the scheming woman grabbed her tightly. The scheming woman deliberately knocked over a vase and pretended to fall to the ground. The loud noise drew the husband's attention. When he saw the scheming woman's hand bleeding, the man immediately yelled at the woman for hurting her, and he didn't listen to her explanation. He slapped her without hesitation. That slap completely broke the woman's heart. At this point, the man still had no idea that his biological mother was in the emergency room fighting for her life. Due to a lack of blood supply, the mother-in-law ultimately passed away. The woman collapsed in grief beside her mother-in-law's bed, but the man angrily scolded her for being in the hospital, saying that she had embarrassed him in front of his mistress. Eventually, the woman, overwhelmed with grief, began to feel intense pain in her belly and collapsed on the floor, but the husband simply watched coldly. He took a phone call and walked away without a second glance. When the woman woke up again, the doctor told her that the baby had to stay in the intensive care unit due to premature birth. The woman felt like her heart had died. She begged the doctor to save her child. At that moment, the mistress's son needed a bone marrow match due to a genetic disease. The doctor told the man that only his wife was a match. Without hesitation, the man disregarded his wife's weakened state after childbirth and rushed to find her. As he was about to enter the ward, he saw his wife's biological mother walking out. He was immediately struck with panic, but the truth was about to be revealed.